Hey, Alex. So I was looking at some stuff on language models and kept seeing this term pre-training. Like, what exactly is that? What's the core idea behind it?
Oh, Stella, that's a great question. It's actually like super fundamental. Think of pre-training as giving a language model an empty brain, right? It's literally just a bunch of randomly initialized weights. So what we do during pre-training is just bombard it with like massive amounts of data. We're talking huge corpuses of text from all over the internet, books, articles, you name it.
Wow. So, like, just a ton of raw information, not really telling it what to do with it, just letting it soak it all in?
Exactly. The model's primary goal in pre-training is next token prediction. So if it sees the dog eats it learns to predict apples. It's building this incredible probabilistic model of language, forming basic connections across domains. It just wants to learn as much as possible, about as much as it can. It's not about how we're using it yet, just pure foundational learning.
Okay, that makes sense for the basics. But Alex, how do we make these models actually useful? Like, how do we get them to answer my specific questions or follow my instructions without just, spitting out random predictions?
That's where post-training comes in, and the first big one is supervised fine-tuning, or SFT. Here, we give the model specific input-output pairs. Like if you ask, what is the capital of France, we train it to say, the capital is Paris. But there's a problem, right? The model doesn't inherently understand conversations, so we use messages formatted data with special tokens like user and assistant to tag who's saying what. This lets the model distinguish between participants.
Ah, so it's like teaching it the context of a conversation, not just individual sentences. But what if I want it to learn new things or keep updating it with fresh data without it forgetting everything it already knows?
Spot on, Stella. That's a huge challenge, actually. If you just keep fine-tuning, the model can forget old capabilities. That's why continual learning is crucial. One really neat method is orthogonal subspace fine-tuning, or OSFT. It cleverly identifies the critical parts of the model's knowledge and freezes them so they don't get overwritten. Then it only allows new learning in the leftover parameter space, ensuring it retains previous capabilities while adapting to new tasks.
That's super smart, preserving knowledge like that. But are there ways to make this whole fine-tuning process even more efficient, especially if you're dealing with really big models or limited computing power?
Absolutely. That's where parameter-efficient fine-tuning, or PEFT, methods shine. A very popular one, you've probably heard of it, is LoRA, low-rank adaptation. Instead of updating the entire model, LoRA attaches small trainable adapter matrices to various layers. These matrices are much smaller than the original model, so you're training far fewer parameters. It's essentially giving the model just enough room to adapt to a new task without the huge overhead.
Oh, that makes so much sense. It's like just adding a little specialized module rather than rebuilding the whole engine. What about really guiding the model, like with rewards to make it reason better?
Yes, and that's reinforcement learning, which is incredibly powerful. Think of it like teaching a dog tricks with treats. The model, the agent, takes an action in an environment and gets a reward based on how good that action was. A method like Group Relative Policy Optimization, or GRPO, takes this further. We generate multiple possible solutions, use rules-based verifiers to see which ones are correct, and then weigh the model's future decisions based on those successful paths. It helps sharpen its reasoning and ensures alignment with desired outcomes without, limiting its creativity too much.
This has been incredibly insightful, Alex. So, for anyone listening who's now excited to dive into these post-training methods, where should they actually start?
Great question, Stella. We actually have an amazing resource at Red Hat called the Training Hub. It's an open source Python library designed to be an algorithm level abstraction for all these state-of-the-art post-training methods we've talked about. It's available right now on GitHub. You can easily pip install Training Hub or pip install Training Hub CUDA if you have a GPU. It's truly a community project supporting multiple popular back-end implementations for each algorithm.
That's fantastic. So it really simplifies access to these complex algorithms, huh? No need to, reinvent the wheel just to try out LoRA or OSFT.
Precisely. We've abstracted it all so you can, for instance, just import SFT or OSFT and start running your training with just a few lines of code. It supports standard SFT, and I'm really proud to say it's the first library to implement and support OSFT for continual learning right out of the box. We're constantly working towards adding more methods too, like the reinforcement learning algorithms and other parameter-efficient techniques. So if you're interested in, experimenting or even contributing to the future of post-training, the Training Hub is definitely the place to be.
That's super cool, Alex. A unified interface for such cutting-edge tools sounds incredibly valuable. Thank you so much for breaking down all these complex concepts for us today.
My pleasure, Stella. Always happy to chat about AI. And for all our listeners, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest in AI. You can also visit franksworld.com for more cutting-edge AI news and insights.